What's up, barbecue fans? Welcome back to Patio. My name's Jake. You're watching Run and Cook. Today on the channel, we're talking ribs, working on some baby backs, doing more of a beginner how to do ribs on a pellet grill. So we're gonna break it down step by step and give you the basics so that you can turn out some good ribs. Now listen, there's a lot of different ways to do ribs. You can do them low and slow. You can do them hot and fast. You can do them 3, 2, 1. Although I wouldn't recommend it. I'm gonna show you how to do these in a way that's gonna turn out some ribs that are tasty, got some good flavor, and we're going the extra mile because we started prepping these last night. Let me show you how we did that. So before we prep our ribs, we've got to get our seasoning ready. We're gonna put some fresh ground pepper in this container here. We're gonna use some diamond kosher salt. It's just in a different container, and some Lowry's. Seasoned salt. Meet my new favorite toy. This is the pepper cannon. This is made out of one piece of aluminum, stainless steel insides, and dual ball bearings. You can hear the peppercorns in there, but when there's no peppercorns in there, this thing spins forever, and it goes from 8 mesh to 60 mesh. Can adjust it however you want. Weighs over a pound. I mean, this thing's built great, but here's where it really shines. We're doing about 16 mesh pepper right now, and this comes out about 10 times quicker than our normal pepper grinder. And for a while I gave up on using fresh ground pepper because it was way too much work. But when you got a pepper cannon, you can go back to fresh ground pepper, no problem. And you can see this is just coming out there like crazy. Use my coupon code to save 10% on it. You'll never buy another one, well worth it. We'll put that in here. And I mean, we've added a substantial amount to what's there. So it works really, really well. We've got 1, 2, how many racks are in here? I think there's 3 racks. So this should be enough for this. We can always ground more, but I try and use just a little bit so that we can always have fresh ground pepper. Now there's nothing special about these ribs. You can see they're from Costco. Pick those up. And these are baby backs. The one thing I should mention also is you guys see me wearing these black nitrile gloves all the time. I actually have a new link below. You can save 35% if you use my code of Run and Cook. I just bought a case of these, 100. Gonna last me a while, but you save a ton of money by buying them in bulk. Again, save 35% below on them. But really, we're just looking for any ends that are gonna burn, right? We don't want to waste the meat, but if it's just going to burn, it's going to get wasted anyhow. With the baby back rib, you're going to want to pull off this membrane. Sometimes it'll be off, sometimes it'll be there. Paper towel becomes your friend for this one, but you're just going to take a knife. You can see it's already here. So we're going to come from this side. Now this can either be easy or a complete pain. And I'm not going to get a grip there. This is actually broken away. If you use a thicker bone, you can get under a little bit. So you can see we got under it. Now be gentle with it because we want to be able to get a grip of it. Yeah. This is going to be one of those ones that's fun. Now if you can get this off, it does allow a little bit of smoke to penetrate below, but if it becomes a real pain, sometimes you've got to leave it alone. This one's going to be a pain, it looks like. It's very thin, so we're going to take our knife to it. This is going to be the same way. And this has got a little baby rib here, so we're going to cut close to this rib and just square this off. The whole thing's just going to burn. We don't want that. You know, like some, like look here on this end here, you can see there's a bunch of bone over here. No one's gonna be eating through that. We're gonna actually take off those ribs. And you can save these. You can put them on for some Pitmaster's treats. Watch that one hand there. Now look, there is no reason to always put a binder on your ribs. Lots of people do, but it's not necessary, especially we're gonna let these sit on a rack overnight in the fridge. All this is gonna soak in there, no problem. Make sure you get your sides. These guys are nice and turned up towards me. Now we're basically trying for roughly 1 part pepper, 50% diamond kosher salt, 50% seasoned salt. You can mix it up however you want. If you want to put a rub on them, you can. Totally up to you. I'm gonna let the smoke do the talking today. And really what we're gonna do now is we're gonna put these in the fridge on a rack. And now we're gonna let the salt do its magic here. It's gonna do a dry brine. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna suck all this flavoring into the meat and then fully season our meat, make it more juicy and give it a little bit more flavor. And you would do the same process whether or not it was St. Louis style ribs, spare ribs, whatever you want. Now you can see I've got everything in separate bottles. I just like to be able to control what I'm putting on. The seasoned salt's a little finer, so it'll come out quick. But I can see a little bit better how much of each I've got on. And if you go nice and high with your shaker, you can get fairly even coating. I'll put this in the fridge overnight and I'll bring you back tomorrow. So as you can see, we did a dry brine on these. These have now been in the fridge on a rack for 15 hours. You can see the color has actually changed. The salt's been pulled into that meat. That's gonna help tenderize it, gonna help flavor it. And we're gonna throw them on the Yoder. We're rocking at 275 today. We're using lumberjack hickory pellets. We're gonna put these guys on the top shelf. And we're gonna find the meatier part, which is pretty close on this, but we're gonna put that closest to the stack. What we're doing now is we're just gonna bunch these together. We're gonna give some room here between so we can get that smoke flavor between them. And we're not gonna touch them for a couple hours, maybe an hour and a half. I'll have a look, I'll tell you what I'm looking for, and I'll show you the next steps when we get there. It's been an hour and a half. Let's have a look. As you can see, ribs are looking good. We're starting to get some great color on them. Now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna rotate them. Just to make sure that we get some even cook on them. Can't hurt. You can see the top is a little bit dry. And you can see this is always the hotter spot. As that air moves quicker and goes out the stack, it's gonna be hotter. And you can see the bones have already pulled back on that side. And a little bit on this side as well. So good idea to rotate them. 50-50 water, apple cider vinegar. This sprayer is great. I just added an Amazon store, the link's below, but I did put this in there. Pretty much everything I use on the channel is listed. So now we got to keep an eye on how things are cooking. Last thing we want to do is overcook our ribs. These are probably going to take somewhere between 3 hours and 3.5 hours. We're at 275, so we're cooking a little quicker, but we're on the top rack, which is going to help us take advantage of some of that smoke from the hickory pellets. But you go from cooked to overcooked pretty quickly. So I'll bring you back probably in an hour, and we'll start to look at our temperatures, and I'll start to show you what we're looking for. Right now, we're really concerned with just keeping that ribs, the top of the surface there, moist so it doesn't dry out. So we are exactly 2.5 hours in. Let me show you what we're looking at here. Now, as you can see, we still got some good pull back on those bones. We've got a little bit on the bottom here, and a little bit on the top. Again, you can start to see we've got it closer to the stack. But here's what we're starting to look for. Now, I did spray these one time. Try and spray them every 45 minutes now. We're looking for color, first of all, but we're also looking for flexibility. So right now, when I lift it up, they're flexible, but they're not quite where we want them, especially this guy. And this is telling me that what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and rotate these around, and I'm going to put this guy towards the stack a little bit. But again, I really want to be able to pick this guy up and have a little bit more flexibility there. What we're going to do is we're going to give these guys a quick spray. Just to keep them nice and moist. Now we're going to keep an eye on them from this point. There's a very fine line between fall off the bone and mushy. So what we're looking for is when we take one of our ribs here, we want to take a bite into it, we want to get a clean bite. A slight tug is okay. That's really what we're looking for. When you get beyond that, you start to get overcooked. So we're going to give this guy a little time. You can feel that's nice and tender. We've got some great color, and we're going to have some good moisture in here. So let's get this guy closed up. We'll keep going for a little while longer. We're looking really good. The big thing is now, so we're going to start to check every 15 or 20 minutes. We're going to keep them moist, and we're going to pay close attention to our temperatures, but more importantly, how they feel. We're 3 hours and about 10 minutes in. Let's have a look to see where we're at. Got some great color. Continued pullback on the bones. That's the signs we're looking for. Look on the back. Got some bones coming out there. Now, listen, the bones are not always going to pull back. That's not a sign that says that they're done. That just shows you that your meat is cooking, and naturally you're going to get some shrinkage, but it doesn't give you an indicator that your meat is done by any means. You want to see that. Now, this one in the back still feels a little tough. This one I think is done. See how we're still touching our grate here. We'll take a look at our temperatures real quick. Just to give you guys an idea, I don't use a thermometer very often when I'm doing ribs. 204, 205 is a good target temperature, just for reference. This is why you have a thermopen. It helps you probe for tenderness. It gives you a great temperature. So we're around 201 there, and on this side, we're 206. Now stay away from the bone. $194, $204. Now this feels like butter in here, so we know we're in good shape. It's a combination of temperature and feel. There's 206. So we're right in the range. Now these guys are gonna cook a little bit more, but I'm liking what I'm seeing right now. So let's get ready to sauce them. There's no reason to wrap your ribs. You can do that for extra tenderness, or if they're really thick pieces of meat and you need to push along that cooking. Another thing you can do, if you're putting a lot of smoke into it and you've got the color that you want at 2 hours in, you can wrap them, you can full bolt them. You're in control. In this case, I was happy with the color the entire time, so I left them unwrapped. We're gonna sauce them up now. Now, you guys know I've got my favorite Diana sauce out of Canada. I have it in my Amazon store, but I am out. I didn't even realize that until last night. Dry brine my ribs, went to go get my sauce, and I was out. So we're using Cosmos Competition barbecue sauce. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna thin this out. This is a little bit of a thick sauce, so I've got some apple cider vinegar here. And just, you guys can't see, but we're about half a bottle in here just to kind of give you an idea. And I'm gonna pour 1, 2, there's about 2 tablespoons. We'll see how this feels. Still pretty thick. Throw a little bit more in it. Now there's about 4 tablespoons, roughly. This is some thick sauce. You can see I just came up here, so we're about half and half right now, roughly. Sounds a little bit better, that's what I'm looking for. Yeah. What we're gonna do here, now these are gonna cook a little bit more. We don't really need them to cook. We just want to get the sauce to tack up. So we're gonna put a little bit on the bottom. Oh yeah, that's nice and runny. That's exactly what we're looking for. Think of it more like a glaze than a barbecue sauce. Now I just always like to do the bottom at a principle. Try and get some on this side. We'll take care of that mostly when we flip them over, but if I can get some on there, I like to do that. Now we're only gonna wait about 5 minutes, and then we're gonna flip them over, we're gonna do the top, and then we'll give them about 10 minutes to tack up, and then we'll pull them off the rest. 5 minutes is up, let's flip them over and do the other side. See, just kind of sits into place. We know it's tacked up now. Don't be afraid to go heavy with the sauce because it's thinned out. We want to make that rib look nice and pretty. Half eating is looking at it with your eyes. Now we just need about 10 minutes for them to tack up. 10 minutes is up. Let's get them off. As you can see, they're looking mighty fine. So I'm gonna put this rack here. We're gonna rest them on a cooling rack. That way they can cool off all the way around them. And just to give you guys an idea, we've got some flex here. This rack might be a tad overcooked. This is the one that was in the back that I shifted around. This rack actually feels pretty good. Total cook time, 3.5 hours. Just to give you guys an idea. Again, we're at 275 with hickory pellets. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna rest these 15, 20 minutes, take them inside and drool over them till we can cut them up. The moment's finally here. Let's have a look. So right off the bat, you can see we've got a nice smoke ring there. Ooh, they're definitely juicy. You can see I'm barely touching it, and there's a fair amount of juice coming out of there. That's pretty crazy. They're definitely juicy. I am barely touching it. It's exactly what we're looking for. Let me try this back one here. Nice smoke ring. See the juice right across the edge there. They both look pretty darn good. I mean, just glistening with moisture. I think we nailed it. Nice clean bite, exactly what we're looking for. Good flavor. The sauce actually isn't too bad. I just want to try this other one out of curiosity. Got a nice clean chew. I was worried about this one being a little overcooked. It's got a lot of meat up top, but it's not overcooked. It's in perfect shape. We're getting the chew that we want. You know, you can see all the moisture in here. I mean, we got some moisture in there. I don't want to squeeze all the moisture out of my meat, but you can see that these guys are in really good shape. Really happy with them. Anytime you've got some pork and you've got a glistening along your cut, you're in good shape. Let's recap real quick. So last night we dry brine these. We, as you saw in the video, we fought with the membrane a little bit. Ended up, it was very thin, so I couldn't get it off. You can't taste it in the chew at all, but I did take a knife just to break that down a little bit. That just helps it render out a little bit better. Then we got out our fresh cracked pepper, our diamond kosher salt, a little bit of seasoned salt, seasoned them up, put them on the rack, let them sit overnight, and then we brought them out. We cooked them at 275 for a total cook time of 3.5 hours. What we did is at the 3 hour and 10 mark, we flipped them over. We put our sauce on the bottom just to give a little bit of a rounded out flavor. Let that tack out for 5 minutes, flip them over, put it on top, let it tack out for another 10 minutes, and then we let them rest for 20, and here we are. No wrap, no hassle, no fuss, just a straight up great rib. This is why, right here, why the 3-2-1 method just can't work. I know it's popular. I used to use it when I first started out cooking. It's an easy way to think about it, but meat doesn't just cook because it's a certain weight. It doesn't cook at a certain speed. And when you look at the 3-2-1 method, I mean, you're cooking it for 3 hours. These are done in 3.5. So if we're gonna wrap them for two hours and then we're gonna put them back on the grill to tighten them up a little bit, they're gonna be overcooked, they're gonna be mushy. That's a surefire way to get a mushy fall off the bone rib. Great for the average home person, not great for the person who wants to get experience in barbecue. That's just not what you're looking for. That leads to a mushy rib. That's not what we want. We want a little bit of chew, we want a nice clean bite off of it, and you want some texture to your meat. Think of it like medium rare versus well done. Because when it's fall off the bone, that's well done, my friends. Anyhow, hopefully you got some value out of this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed yet, why not? Click that button below. Support me on my journey. I appreciate you watching as always. Thanks again. I'll see you soon.